The world is watching Asia as the South China Sea becomes a global flashpoint. This vital waterway is now a stage for rising tension and bold moves by nations, especially the United States and China. Their rivalry is reshaping alliances and raising the stakes for everyone. At the center of this contest is the Philippines, a nation with a long, complicated history with the U.S. Recent events have thrust the Philippines into the spotlight. A new American-backed airstrip on a disputed island, and the arrival of a powerful U.S. missile system. These moves signal a renewed alliance with Washington and a direct challenge to China's ambitions. But they also make the region more volatile, with the risk of conflict higher than ever. This isn't just about military hardware, it's about people, politics, and the future of international order. Small nations like the Philippines are forced to make tough choices when caught between giants. The construction of an airstrip on Thitu Island, though seemingly minor, is a major statement in the South China Sea. It's a direct challenge to China's sweeping claims and a sign of U.S. commitment to its allies. Today, September 14, 2025, we stand at a critical juncture. The upgrades on Thitu Island are well underway, and the American Typhoon missile system remains in the country, its location secret. These developments are the latest moves in a long, complex game. The risk of miscalculation is dangerously high. The potential for conflict is very real. The choices made here will ripple across the globe. The world is watching and waiting. The U.S.-Philippines relationship is rooted in a century of shared history, forged through war and a vision of democracy. Their alliance was formalized in 1951 with the Mutual Defense Treaty, pledging mutual support in case of attack. For decades, U.S. bases like Subic Bay and Clark Air Base anchored American power in the Pacific. But in the 1990s, Philippine nationalism led to the closure of these bases, cooling military ties. New threats in the 21st century, terrorism and China's assertiveness, brought the Allies back together. In 2014, the Enhanced Defense Cooperation Agreement, EDCA, allowed U.S. forces to rotate through Philippine bases and store equipment without permanent bases. Today, EDCA is the backbone of U.S. military activity in the Philippines. The Typhoon missile deployment and Thitu Island upgrades are happening under this agreement. The alliance has evolved from dependency to partnership, driven by shared interests and concerns about China. The Philippines now leverages this partnership to strengthen its security and assert its sovereignty. The U.S. sees the Philippines as a key ally in maintaining balance in the Indo-Pacific. Together, they face a changing security landscape shaped by China's rise. The alliance is more relevant and more tested than ever. The stakes are high for both nations. Their choices will shape the region's future. The world is watching their next move. China's rapid rise has transformed Asia's balance of power. With a modernized military and assertive foreign policy, Beijing is reshaping the regional order. Nowhere is this clearer than in the South China Sea, where China claims nearly the entire waterway. Artificial islands, military outposts, and constant patrols have put China in direct conflict with neighbors like the Philippines. Filipino fishermen and supply missions face harassment and intimidation. Tensions peaked in 2024 with confrontations near Second Thomas Shoal. China's actions have pushed the Philippines to strengthen defenses and seek closer U.S. ties. The disputes are now about sovereignty and national dignity. The region faces difficult choices as China's shadow grows. Thitu Island, or Pag-asa, is the Philippines' largest outpost in the Spratlys, a small island with big significance. In January 2025, with U.S. support, the Philippines began upgrading its airstrip and port facilities. The new runway will handle larger military aircraft, boosting resupply and surveillance. This project is more than infrastructure, it's a bold assertion of Philippine sovereignty. The upgrades respond directly to escalating Chinese pressure in 2024. Manila frames the project as a defensive necessity to protect its people and territory. The construction is a symbol of resolve and a deepening U.S.-Philippine alliance. By investing in Thitu, Manila draws a line in the sand. The message to Beijing, the Philippines, will not be pushed out. Thitu Island is now a focal point in the struggle for control of the South China Sea. The stakes have never been higher. In April 2024, the U.S. deployed its advanced Typhoon missile system to the Philippines, shaking up the regional balance. Originally for joint exercises, the system remains in place, signaling a major strategic shift. Typhoon can launch Tomahawk cruise missiles reaching deep into mainland China and SM-6 missiles for air and sea defense. Its mobility makes it hard to track and target, increasing survivability in conflict. Between September 2024 and January 2025, the U.S. demonstrated Typhoon's rapid redeployment across Luzon. Satellite images confirm the system's movement, underscoring its flexibility. U.S. officials insist the deployment is temporary and coordinated with Manila. But the presence of such a powerful weapon sends a clear message to Beijing. The Typhoon system changes the military calculus in the region. It's a tool for deterrence and a source of tension. The Philippines is now a frontline state in the U.S. China rivalry. The world is watching how this new capability will be used. The stakes are higher than ever. China has responded with anger to the airstrip upgrade and Typhoon deployment, calling them provocations and accusing the U.S. of destabilizing the region. Chinese officials warn the Philippines against hosting U.S. forces and weapons, labeling it an irresponsible choice. State media paints Manila as a pawn in America's game, threatening consequences if it continues. Russia has joined China in condemning the moves, deepening geopolitical divides. Manila, however, stands firm, defending its right to strengthen defenses and alliances. President Marcos Jr. asserts the Philippines will not be intimidated, marking a shift from previous administrations. Regional allies like Japan and Australia quietly support Manila, while others remain cautious, wary of being forced to choose sides. Southeast Asia is caught between economic ties to China and security concerns. The risk of miscalculation and conflict grows with every move. The new airstrip and missile deployment have redrawn Southeast Asia's strategic map. The U.S.-Philippines alliance is stronger, counterbalancing China's influence. For Manila, this means greater leverage, but also deeper divisions within ASEAN. Economically, the militarization of the South China Sea threatens global trade and raises costs. The Philippines risks Chinese economic retaliation, a real concern given their trade ties. At home, the government's tough stance sparks patriotism, but also fears of being dragged into a superpower conflict. Globally, these moves reinforce the narrative of a new Cold War. The Philippines is now a frontline state in a global competition. Decisions made here will shape the future of the international order. The risk of escalation is ever present. Security experts see both promise and peril in the U.S. buildup. A stronger U.S. presence may deter Chinese aggression, but it also raises the risk of rapid escalation. Analysts warn that U.S. bases in the region are vulnerable to Chinese missile strikes. China has built thousands of hardened shelters, the U.S. lags behind. Lawmakers urge more resilient infrastructure, but progress is slow. Dispersal, spreading forces across many locations, is key, and Typhoon's mobility is a model. This strategy complicates China's planning and boosts U.S. resilience. Still, the greatest danger is miscalculation. As military presence grows, so does the risk of accidental clashes. Clear communication and de-escalation channels are urgently needed. Deterrence is a delicate balance. Strength must be matched by restraint. The Indo-Pacific stands at a crossroads. The Thitu airstrip and Typhoon missiles are signs of a new, riskier era. The U.S. and Philippines aim to restore balance, but the stakes are higher than ever. Every move is watched and interpreted as aggression by Beijing. The cycle of action and reaction makes diplomacy harder. Leaders in Washington, Manila, and Beijing must manage competition without letting it spiral into conflict. The story of the South China Sea is still being written. Peace is not guaranteed. It requires strength, dialogue, and respect for international law. The choices made now will shape our collective future. Citizens must stay informed and engaged. Your voice matters. Encourage peaceful solutions and avoid catastrophe. Is the U.S. presence in the Philippines stabilizing or provocative? The conversation must continue.